Hello again and welcome back to Tiva Talk. Out and about in the community, yet another interesting guest. I'll just give him a few minutes, introduce himself, and also just give us a snapshot of who he is and where he comes from.
Well, my name is Peter Edu, and I'm a Ghanaian, and I live in Durham, Oshemo to be precise, in Durham County. And I've lived in Italy before, and I moved to Birmingham, and from Birmingham to the Northeast. So here we are.
Oh, welcome, Peter, and thank you for affording me this opportunity to interview you. Even though I rarely call you Peter, but it's Petro. And welcome, and thank you for allowing us to have a conversation on Tiva Talk.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome, sir. I just want you to go a little bit on, you say you're Ghanaian.
Yeah.
And you grew up in Ghana. Can you just go back in history a little bit and tell us about the kind of place that you come from? Because I believe Ghana is a very big area. So where do you come from, particularly in Ghana?
Well, I come from Mori, which is close, some kilometers, about 6 kilometers to Cape Coast, where it was the capital, the first capital of Ghana, when we had the Queen, or we had under the
colonialized first, yeah.
And then it was moved to Accra. So that's where we have the Cape Coast Castle, where the slaves used to be taken to abroad. Okay.
All right. So it's in the coast.
Yes, it's in the coast, very close to the place. And that's where I grew up and had my education and everything, and had a technical education. I studied woodwork, carpentry, City and Guilds. I graduated, not quite graduated, just intermediate certificate of...
Yeah, so you did graduate.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, I did carpentry, but I've never practiced. I've loved mechanical things, how things work and dismantle and mount and a whole lot of things. I love mechanical things.
Yeah, so, well, not practicing is what most of us do. We go to university, but if you look at it, not so many people are actually in their respective professions. Yeah, but we'll get into your skill set a bit later on. I still want to dwell in kind of like your background and your upbringing. So as you were growing up, in the second, you said it was the capital city.
Yeah, the first capital city of Ghana, which was Cape Coast, until it was moved to Accra.
Okay, yeah. So take me back to that point. You were growing up. Tell me about the family dynamics at that point.
Well, I grew up with a lot of siblings all around me, because my mom had 2 daughters before marrying my dad. So with my dad, I'm the eldest, and then with my mom, I have 2 other sisters before me.
Okay.
And then I had other siblings. I think we were 6 in all, and then 2 died in their infancy.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
And a boy and a girl died in their infancy. So that's what we've remained. But my dad had other children from other places, so we are a bunch of
quite a few. But that's typical of African fathers, isn't it?
Yeah, African.
I don't know how many other sisters or brothers I have that I don't know about. But what does that mean? You being the firstborn male child, what does that mean as a Ghanaian parent culturally?
Culturally, it means a big responsibility.
Okay.
And I think the setting is that you are more responsible than you recognize. It's not like in a European setting where the parents prepare or push you to others do, but depending on where you come from and which type of place you come from, environment you come from, it's you have to it's a struggle, and you study, because for instance I finished this technical institute and I never got a job.
Okay.
And we're talking, I finished in 1982.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So that's in itself is a lifetime.
Yeah, definitely it is. It is.
So I helped my dad to reconstruct or restructure what my grandfather's house was. So I helped him build, and then I think in the year 1986 I left Ghana to Nigeria.
All right. Wow.
Yeah. And from there I spent a couple of months in Lagos.
Okay.
And then from there I got a chance to travel to Naples, Italy.
Okay.
Yeah, I had an intention of, since I did City and Guilds, and I wanted to do the advanced course in England. And so when I got to Italy, because there was a seasonal tomato harvesting time in the summertime, so I decided to stay there and make some money and then continue to England to further my education.
Oh, all right. Oh.
Yes, but it did not come to pass because with documentation and things, it was difficult to go to England. So 1 year in, 1 year out, and I found myself married, have children, and the rest is history.
Okay, all right.
So that's yeah. But my intention was to travel to England to further my education, but
okay.
Yeah.
Many are the plans,
of a man,
but
God
plans of God that prevail.
Yes.
Amen. Yeah. So when we look at it, you first went to Nigeria. Yeah. What was the drive behind that?
Well, now we have people who, by design to travel to Europe, will pass through the desert to Libya. Okay. Because there are other places where the chances of coming to Europe are more are quite open, or you have more access,
more opportunities.
Opportunity in traveling to Europe than.
Okay, from Libya.
Yeah. From Libya, because you go through Libya and then you go through, I think, Morocco, and then you go through Las Palmas.
Oh, so you're going upwards.
Yeah, upwards, and then you go
cross over. All right. Okay. Oh no, that's.
And then people use boats to cross from all over the place, and there's more risky in dying in the desert.
Yeah.
Or you die in the desert or in the sea, and then only few people make it to. Yeah, but thankfully, I did not pass through that. I traveled by road to Nigeria, and then from there boarded a plane after 2 months or 3 months.
Okay.
Came to Naples.
Okay. Yeah. So taking you back, because I think you're moving a bit too fast for me, but
okay.
I'll keep bringing you back.
whatever.
What I want to understand is the kind of mindset that you had, because it's not everybody who has a desire to travel abroad or who finally actually travels abroad. So what was actually going on through your mind at that point in time?
Well, my desire was to be a mechanical engineer. Okay. Maybe I didn't know, all of whatever it entails, but I was more of into mechanical things than the course that I choose. But I think that was the influence of my dad speaking to the principal, because my dad wanted me to be an architect.
Okay.
So I did building, specializing in woodwork, carpentry and joinery. Okay. And I got good grades. They even offered me to teach practicals in the school.
All right.
But since it was in my later years in completion, I had because my dad lost his job and my mom wasn't able to cater, so it was a bit difficult. So as soon as I finished, I said, "No, I'm out of here."
Okay.
So
greener pastures.
Yes, and then went home, couldn't find a job, so I helped my dad build a house, and then he helped me come through Nigeria, and then he paid for my traveling to Nigeria through my cousin.
Okay.
She was residing in Lagos, so through her I got a chance to travel
to Lagos. Okay. So what profession was your dad in?
He was like a clerk or purchasing manager for a company that was building roads, a German company called Karl Plotner.
Okay.
Simply put, CP. So they did a very good job. It was a very high paid job and very efficient job. Most of the roads they constructed are still valid now in Ghana.
Okay.
At that time.
Yeah. So that means he had actually seen the potential in the course that he wanted you to do, the architecture.
Yeah.
All right. So most probably that's why he was
influencing me to that direction. But I think what Africans need to, or we are now learning, is to empower our children to pursue what is their desire, because every child has his own gifting and his calling, so I think it's high time we stop pushing them to do what will, be the fulfillment of us parents than helping them to achieve their own goals in life. Because,
yes,
like I said, I was good in carpentry because I'm good in handiwork.
Yeah, that's where your gifting is.
Yes.
I often say that.
Yeah. But unfortunately, I didn't want to do, that because
You're interested in engineering.
I'm engineering. I don't know, but the only thing
just calling you.
Yeah, the only thing I don't get tired in doing is like figuring out how does this thing work. Okay, this thing connects here. When this thing is not working as it's supposed to, it means what is moving it is not.
Okay. So would you say you're actually a problem solver?
Yes. I can.
That's where you enjoy dealing most of the time. Okay. So how was the language barrier between the Ghanaian and the Nigerian? How did you manage to navigate that?
And since Nigerians speak Pidgin English, they didn't have any problem. I even learned some of the local. I don't know, it's almost 30 something years, but I still remember, certain phrases that I learned when I got to Nigeria.
Okay.
So it wasn't necessary to speak because all of them speak at least a bit of English.
Okay.
So that was
and Ghana and English, former British colony,
yes,
English speaking,
yeah.
And same applies to Nigeria as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So you moved from Nigeria and you're moving upwards.
Yes.
Where did you go to next?
I moved to Italy, Naples, Italy. We call it Napoli. Okay. It's a very nice place. And the only blacks they at that time they were used to were people that will come for seasonal work and then go to Greece, because at that time there was marine, shipping companies were very prominent in
Greece.
Greece. So people will come to Italy, work in the season, and then get some money, and then go to Greece, and then wait for a shipping company shipping agency to hire them around the world. So that's what, And then from 83, 84, 85, upwards, the influx of Africans, became notable in the area. So the only problem was the documentation.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, like many other places. I mean, even here in the UK, it's still the same thing. But okay, what's going on through Bro Petro's mind at that time?
At that time,
it's a difficult thing.
Sure, because I was only 23 and alone. Someone hosted me, and I didn't even know the guy. I was introduced by my cousin, and my cousin's boyfriend had a friend in Italy. So through him, I got to Italy. So he had to take care of me for me to for my documentation and job and everything. So, but what happened was, I believed in God. I was a Christian at that time, through my mom. So I was looking for a place to worship.
Okay.
So even though I had no one but the guy who hosted me, when I got to church, I had some, people that were Ghanaians, and then they belonged to an American-based church, because there was an American military station in Naples.
Okay.
So that's where they worshipped. So they joined them, and then I too found myself with them. So I think providentially I got a place to stay. We stayed in ghetto for some time till we got document in I think 1987, 88.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's I was still quite young.
Yeah, because it was funny because we didn't have documents, but we were driving. We didn't have insurance, yet we were driving. So you remember, I remember sometimes the police stops you.
Yeah.
It's a funny thing. Police stop you, and the car is overloaded. The driver doesn't have a license, and there's no insurance on the car. Yeah, but Italians were lenient.
Well, and back then as well, the level of technology, it was not that advanced.
No, at all.
Because now all they do is they come in and they put in the database, and you got no insurance. You're in trouble.
You're in trouble.
You're in trouble. Yeah, I had a few instances then, but
And then jobs were difficult to come by, so we used to work in the farms. So I've done farming, I've done cultivating, weeding under the peach or apple trees with a long hoe, because you go to, there's a place, they come to pick you in the morning. So we, all of us from all places, all the ghettos we have. I used to live in Giuliano.
Okay.
That's in Naples.
Giuliano.
Yeah, a suburb of Naples, Napoli.
Okay.
And then Caserta. So there's a place where all the foreigners come in the morning.
Yes.
And then the landowners or the farmers come with their trucks, and then they choose 1, 2, 3. And then you go. And then some masons or bricklayers or construction company will come and pick you.
So do the same thing.
If you are fortunate that day, you work. And then depending on how big the work, will determine how many days you work.
Okay.
So, yeah, that was interesting.
It's quite interesting. But also, it made you develop your skill set.
Sure.
No, that's good. But now, with the language barrier, obviously you're coming from an English speaking. What happens then in Italy? How do you navigate?
Oh Lord. Because Italians are conversant with hand gestures. So, you can speak to somebody without even opening your mouth. Okay. It's like he asks you like, how? Come here.
It's kind of like sign language.
Yeah, sign language.
Right. Okay. So it made it quite easier for you.
Yeah, and then they have their dialects, but I determined to study the Italian language because I thought I knew that I will not stay there for a long time, and since Italian is their original language, the main language, there's a mason or a bricklayer that I asked him on purpose to teach me, while we were working, instead of the local language, if he can, so that I will learn. And he was obliged to.
Also, Italian is the main. Then you've got other dialects as
dialects well. Everywhere you go. You go to Rome, they have their own language. Milan, they have their own language, but Italian is the main.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
like you have Geordie and English.
English. True. Yeah. So while you're in Italy, we're getting that kind of exposure.
Yeah.
What does it do to you? African background, the cultural differences.
The culture shock and things.
Yeah. So what happens? How did you adjust to that? And can you just enlighten us what the kind of differences that you find there?
Well, but I think whoever has never traveled, wherever you go, you have this adjustment to make towards that
environment.
That environment, and then you don't understand the language. Somebody will be insulting you, yet you have to smile,
not knowing
what you're saying. So, it's now we can laugh about, but I remember somewhere we went to work in a farm, and we have to pass through villages, and then you see an old lady with black and a black scarf and things, and then when you see a black, you begin to...
Really?
Yeah.
Why was that?
Because some of the places are so remote that that's the first time of seeing
a black
person in person, because they see them in TV and then maybe footballers and things, but to encounter them one-on-one is...
So what did that mean to you? As a obviously this is a non-black populated environment.
You have the nostalgia, but I think most of the time you are more pushed or driven by wanting to achieve something in life. So you overcome that, or you don't dwell on that, even though you left my mom and dad, and and it's not that we were so poor and things, but but I needed to
explore
and better my life.
All right, so now you are establishing yourself. You've got a bit of employment. Do you finally go into engineering?
You never say never. So it's something I love, So I might need to polish, what I already have and the knowledge I have. So that's what I've been doing.
That's the point that I want you to focus on. You're doing these piece jobs, and then you started doing a bit of engineering. That's the part the transition that I want you to share with us.
It happened that because somebody volunteered to send all the foreigners, undocumented foreigners, back to their native. Yeah.
All right. Native.
So we began to pray.
Okay.
And then all the group I knew, we began to pray because it was a serious thing. And then one of the parliamentarian, the minister, stood up for the foreigners. Instead of sending them away, we could document them and make use of them, or to be productive in a society. And so it turned out for the first mass registration or mass documentation that happened. I think it happened in 1987.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have to register, and then you have access to, because you are not counted and you are not productive to the society.
Yeah.
And then you don't have access to sanitation or health care, So when everything was okay and then we were registered, then you could access to the hospitals and the medical
different
care.
Things,
And then people can employ you because we were concentrated in the southern part, middle or south, middle part.
Middle part.
And so when we got documentation, then we began to move to where they have companies and then industries, mainly in the northern part of Italy. Okay. So that's why I moved to the northern part of Italy, and then got a job in the marble business. I went to work in the marble where we cut the marbles in like tiles. They use tiles or worktop for the kitchen, or the stairs. They use marble granite for staircases, and then windowsill marble. So
is that a cultural thing?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's they are more into marble than a bit different from the English type of building.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
All right. Oh, that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you work there, and obviously polishing up on your Italian at the time.
And then Italian at the time, and then what happened was that since we knew nobody there, we went to the Caritas in those who came, who went to the northern part.
Yes.
Mainly, I went to Verona.
Okay.
Yeah, and then those who were first to be there, who went there in the beginning, went to the Catholic Church in a Caritas, so they will supply you food and somewhere to sleep. So I found a place to sleep in under the Catholic Church, and we were 25 in the house of I think 5 bedrooms. And so you finish work and come home, and then the kitchen is already choked. So I decided, because there was an opportunity to go and study Italian in Italian classes in the evening.
Okay.
So I will opt to go to the Italian class, and then I come back, and then the kitchen is okay. So that's how
So you solved another problem, came up with the strategy.
Yeah.
So I'm interested in you moving to that part of Italy.
Yeah.
Obviously, you had now become part of a community.
Yeah.
How many people actually moved with you?
I was alone when I moved, but I had other people in the same church I belonged to that has already moved.
All right.
So it wasn't.
So it wasn't that difficult.
No, not that difficult until I got a job and I needed my own place.
Okay.
And then even then I joined a couple, the Ghanaian couple that had already their house, had their apartment, so they gave me
gave you accommodation.
Yeah. So it's a gradual process, and then after some years I got my own place, and
okay.
Yeah.
So you did mention earlier on that obviously you had to pray.
Yeah.
So I understand that obviously you are a Christian and quite spiritual. What is the importance, or where does that come from? Is that from, obviously you mentioned your mom. But when do you start taking possession or responsibility for that yourself? When do you start understanding the importance of the spiritual side?
Well, I think when we give our lives to Christ, or we belong to a church, or we follow our parents to church, which most of the time happens, and then it gets to a place where we have to make decisions for ourselves, And how we know that we trust God or we are working with God is when we encounter difficulty. And then He comes through for us. So it becomes like a
relationship.
Yes, a relationship, but you can pinpoint, it's not a vague, God, okay. I will pray if He responds or if He answers. But if you can have that, a place of an encounter that this day or that day, I went through a difficult situation and I asked God to help me and He helped me. So you have a basis or you have something where you can go back to and
start trusting.
Yeah. Okay. You build
a reference point.
Yes. So I think that's, I don't remember exactly, but I knew that God answered prayer.
Okay.
And then I was fortunate to have some friends that believed in prayer. So they were elders or they were mature than me
so
in
they
Christ.
Kind of held your hand.
Yes. So they helped me build my own relationship with God, by their experience. Okay, in this situation, you pray, you fast, you look to God, and then gradually I began to develop my own relationship with God, and then I'm still learning, but God has been faithful.
It's always a learning process. It's always a learning.
He's been faithful.
Oh no! Thank you for putting that. And obviously, before you made any move, obviously you would have that time
because
to consult.
Yes, I could see that it was difficult for me to move to England at that time, being documentation because I didn't have any document, and I was not working. So when I started working and when I got documented and everything, then the desire to move to England has subsided. So I was of age, for a companionship, and so
tell us about that for a bit.
Well, I knew a lady, who was a friend, because we belong to the same group, a student group that meet to plan the town. Do we have to clean or like picking up rubbish and things? Right. So through like that, I got to know her, and she was a Christian too, even though different
denomination.
But we became friends, and she was in a different town or city, but she comes on holidays.
Okay.
So we will correspond, and eventually, since I didn't have any
I see you smiling there.
Yeah. So okay. That's how.
So that nice lady became the mother of your children.
My children.
So how many children have you got?
I've got 4 children, 3 girls and a boy. The boy who is the last one who is with me here in Israel.
All right.
So I have the bigger ones. 2 of them are in Italy.
Okay.
And I think the first one has done is a law degree in Milan, and then the second one is doing, if she's still doing, because I understand she's doing her PhD in Berlin.
Wow, that's nice.
And third one finished university in Glasgow, because she came here and went to Glasgow.
Okay.
And Israel is in a freshman in Napier University in Edinburgh.
Edinburgh.
Scotland.
Okay.
So
that's quite interesting. When they were young, or getting involved in that home environment, how did you manage to influence? Because I think it's very important for us to nurture our children, like you mentioned. How did you influence the desire to study and the desire for ambition, basically?
I think because of what I learned from my education, because my father did not like that I go into mechanical thing. So when my children were growing up and they had to choose their careers, we only advise or we only encourage what they, because I thought my firstborn Vanessa very practical with electronics.
Okay.
Yeah, very sharp-minded in electronic and cars and like me.
Yeah.
So I wanted that she choose maybe electronic or electrical engineering or whatever, but she wanted to study law.
Okay.
Okay. So what else can you do? You only hope that that's a desire and it will mature for her to, because when you are doing something that you love, it ceases to be work or labor.
Yeah, it becomes natural.
It becomes natural.
I mean, just what the Word of God says, and I normally say this, that, it says that it is your gifting that will make room for you.
Yeah.
And, it makes you sit even amongst the kings.
Yes,
Is that what it says? Yeah.
Yes.
So there's a lot that goes on within education coming in from the inside out kind of approach
rather than
outside
studying something just because it's marketable. Because you want to, because of the environment. If everybody is working in the care work or whatever, but everyone has a natural gifting that I think if we follow, because that will give us satisfaction of. Because the accomplishment is not working for money, but the accomplishment is doing what you love and being paid for.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. So I think that is what we have to do.
Yeah, and unfortunately, not so many people actually have that opportunity.
Yes.
Because most of us, because of environmental influences and everything else, we no longer utilize that gift, because one of the things that I desire to show is that each individual, like you're saying, has a gift that they need to give to the world. Because I remember Dr. Miles Monroe saying, it is the gift that is in you that you need to give to the world. It's not for you to keep.
No, at all.
So not many people know what their giftings are. How then do you get to know what your gift is?
Well, I think in my case, I will only talk about my case because I am. I think we have to be versatile, even though we have our gifting and our callings and everything. But we have to be versatile in learning other skills going forward, because maybe situation happens and then you are left, because if you're a mechanic and then there's no way to practice what you have.
Yes.
You don't say, okay, until I have occasion to work in engineering, I'm not going to do it. Even if it's cleaning, knowing that you have a purpose or you are heading towards something. Because I remember I lost my job. And I think in the 2008 where those bank crash, remember?
Yeah.
Okay, but since I had a truck license and a bus license, I could change or up to drive, which I didn't have any problem. So it's
being flexible.
Yeah, and even how it came about, because I had 4 children and I was the only one working, no child support. It's not like in England. Italy is a different place. Okay, and I was the only one working, and if you lose your job, it's a big blow. But I think on the when I did the license, because I had already done for car the B license. Yes. And I supposed to have done the C, which is a truck, HGV.
Yes.
But I opted to do the D, which is the bus, which is higher than the C. Yes. So the exams was tricky. I failed twice.
Wow.
And then the third one, I remember we went to the DVLA manager or whoever in Verona City.
Yes.
We did it in an office. We were only 2 guys. And so eventually I passed, but the guy said, you've passed, but you know, yeah.
So what actually kept you going? Because, you know, failure is not something that people take lightly.
No, because, I don't know, because at times when you are aiming for something, because I knew that was not my final destination in maybe a truck driver or bus driver. But in Italian, they say, chi impara mestieri mette da parte. He who learns or studies, how do you say mestieri in English? It's like when you learn something with your hands, or you put it aside, knowing that in the future it will be useful for you in the coming future. So I think that's why I did that. So it wasn't easy on my family, you know, even to pay for the tuition and everything. But I knew that it will serve, and it served.
Okay.
And it served, yeah.
No, that's absolutely fine. So we're just going to take a little break.
Okay.